Hello everyone, it's Rachel here at Cloudy Hands Crafts. You'll need an A4 piece of paper for this tutorial. You're going to fold that in half horizontally, open it out and then fold it vertically. Give those creases a good fold down with a bone folder. Next you can use a pair of scissors or a paper trimmer to cut along one of the short lines created when you folded, and that will stop at the intersection where both lines meet. Keeping the line that you've just cut on the left hand side, you're going to fold the top corner in towards the centre, but you're going to leave a 1-inch gap between the new fold that you've just made and the fold that you made earlier going up the centre. Flipping that round makes the first pocket, and then you're going to take the bottom right section, fold the corner over and line it up with the centre fold this time, and then when you flip that up it makes the second pocket. Then the remaining section can be folded around the back and that makes it into a card shape. So I'm going to do the same again with another piece of paper. I am cutting this one down to be more or less A4 sized, but I am fairly sure that you will be able to use a square piece or a larger piece and it would work just as well. I'm using this Christmas paper because this one will be going in my Christmas journal, so I'm going to decorate it up and show you how I do that as well. Just be aware that when you're cutting design paper like this, then it depends how you fold it as to where each section of the pattern's going to be. So that's just something to keep in mind while you're working on it. But you can play around with it, fold it one way, and then if it doesn't work, fold it the other way instead. I decided that I wanted to have the bolder colours on the front of the pocket, so that's why I folded over the dark red to make the pockets. When you're using card like this, make sure that it is creased in well, otherwise it'll try and spring open on you. And then if the top parts don't align properly, then you can trim it down with a paper trimmer as well. And I had just a little part that needed cutting off at the bottom, but you can line those top ones up because that doesn't matter if you cut a fold because there is no folds at the top. So I'm going to ink all of the edges. I'll speed this up even further for you. And just be careful to get all of the top creases as well. Now I'm going to glue down the pockets. You can do this however you see fit. It can be a little bit fiddly, but I'm sure that you could find some extra pockets in this as well by gluing down different areas. Once you've glued all of the edges, make sure that you give it a good press down and allow it to dry if you're using wet glue, just to make sure it doesn't spring apart. Now I'm going to add some of this gold trim, which is very shiny, and I tend to cut it a bit longer, then cut it down to size once it's dried a bit. I thought about cutting it there, but I changed my mind. So now that it's a bit dry, I can trim those edges and keep it flush with the card. The base paper that I'm using for this one was Poinsettia Perfection by Crafter's Companion, which is discontinued, but all of the elements that you can see there with the Santa's head and the journal cards and things are the Stamperia paper pad. I can't remember what it's called, but I will link it below for you. So I'm just having a rummage through those journal cards to find one that looks good inside, bearing in mind that my glue is still a little bit tacky here, so I didn't want to push it in too far. I knew that it would fit, but I did decide to trim a little edge off as well, just to make sure that it was an easy fit. So I inked up all of the ephemera as well. because found these little tags that I wanted to put in. And a label that I wanted to put on the front. That just took a little bit of coaxing to get it in, but now it's dry it does slide in and out easily. So then I was just playing around with some of these fussy cuts, which came on the paper pad, trying to decide which one I wanted to have as the main focal point, and I decided on these little birds. The baubles were a bit too much, so I cut them off, and then inked the edges so that it would blend in towards the background. And then I thought that it just needed something extra to make it pop out from the page. So I found this piece of cheesecloth, cut that down to size, and made a little cluster with those images. And some scraps as well. I did want to use that label, so I made space for it by moving the birds over slightly. But then it left a gap in the bottom corner which I needed to find something to fill. So I thought I would just stick these down first and then I would worry about that bottom corner afterwards. I was just trying to get the placement right. Sometimes it's easier to just stick things down and worry about it later than it is to find the ideal placement from the get-go. With the little pieces, they need to be stuck down extra well so that they don't get knocked and then end up tearing off. I love this paper pad so much. I'm a very traditional person when it comes to my Christmas journals and my decorations at home, really. I don't like modern Christmas, I like traditional looking Christmas. So I played around with a few things which I edited out of the video here, but I eventually settled on the idea of these little holly leaves and then a candy cane as well. So I fussy cut those and then stuck them down. And then I was fairly happy with the result there. So this is the finished result, and it can be put in a side journal in several ways. So I thought you would be able to use it as a journal page to go as part of a signature and create kind of a pocket page, like so. Or you could actually put it inside a pocket as an insert, or you could stick it directly onto the page as a flip out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again on Tuesday for another.